and now it's closing in. Nothing to bear and nothing to win. Nothing to win. Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Could you believe? Step in the fire, take my hand. I'll take you higher than you've ever been. Than you've ever been.
Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in. Let's go right into the chart, shall we? Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. 12 hours candles later, and we have dropped beneath the 0.5 of this diagonal pitch fan level, and we have come to the one level of the bearish trend base fib extension level of 26,609 and found a candle close bounce potential off this region. Well, let's go look at the liquidity on High Block Capital. What is the liquidity? Well, it's when people lock their liquidity into the charts and forget to use a stop loss and get burnt to a crisp by the market maker. And we get to see who those crispy folks are thanks to the High Block Capital $70 a month subscription, which you should consider subscribing here so you can get a free update every day. So as we go into the 1 minute time frame here, we lost a lot of the bubbles to Father Time, which we had previously seen a short imbalance of, which they have not yet come back to grab. So we're going to see where those levels are on the immediate inducement that has occurred. And on this drop to the downside here, over the last few hours, we have seen a $120 million pool at 27, almost 27 even, be opened as they came to grab this guy down at 26.67. So this 50x pool has now been liquidated.
Fatality.
And they repossess this bubble here. And these other, as it stands currently, you have $120 million in shorts open to the 46 million in longs that are open at that same level. So if you spawn some divergence off of this dead long liquidity, you could see a bounce to the upside upon the knockout of these bubbles here at 26.58. Could this have been the divergence we needed? We need to look to expand our vision to the higher time frame to see if there's any external pools being targeted. Shout out to everyone here. So as we look at the 7-day time frame, there have been more longs starting to open here as we have dropped down into these regions. We're taking out a couple billion here and there, 5 here, 5 there, and we're seeing the imbalance to the upside being paved slightly on this 7-day time frame. I say slight because those single digits in billions of yellow fade to green as we expand our vision to the higher time frame and start to see the imbalance potentially still remain below. On the monthly time frame, we are seeing the imbalance taken out here. Why did we go lower into this liquidity? Well, that happens to coincide with a 3 and a 6 month pool, which we'll get into in a minute. And this is how you juxtapose the targets of the higher time frame and why we were thinking about potentially finding a short position at these 3 hits to the high up here. Now you're starting to see this 40 billion up here at 30k. If we start to spawn some divergence off of the longs down here, then you could see a bounce at some stage. Currently the imbalance on the monthly is also to the upside. So if we look to the 3 months, this is where the narrative structure shifts to remain to the downside. Why is that? Well, you have this pool of longs down here at 25.6, 53 billion to be exact, and 25.4 you have 60 billion, and at 25.2 you have 50 billion. So you have $150 billion in long liquidity, just a hop, skip, and a jump beneath the price. This is why we have this here for the last few weeks. This is the remaining amount to come grab on this extended W we put out to you yesterday. So if you were going to get failure at these levels, this is where you could potentially find that scalp idea. So we're going to take a look at the 6 month as you start to see this unfold as well. The narrative structure to the upside is still intact, however, as we go to the yearly time frame, as we do every day. So once this 82 billion at 25.5 or 68 billion gets knocked out, do you spawn enough divergence to justify a move to continue to the upside? On the higher time frame here of the 6 month, you see 100 billion at 22.5. However, if we came down and ate all this liquidity, this would be the end to the bear bullish narrative. But we did do that before here and ate into the liquidity before spawning a divergence on a Silicon Valley Bank failure. So are we going to see something similar as we start to eat into this long liquidity? If you go to the higher time frame of the yearly, you start to see the higher pools align with that idea, particularly at 32.8 and above. I'll show you in just a sec. We are nearing the finish line of our 100k account funded challenge, so I want to be able to finish that today if possible. We got 126 million at 32.4, 96 million at 32.8, and 33.2 you have 110 million. So you have $300 billion up here in this region, paving the path to the 34.8 region. So as we start to spawn this divergence by eating into this liquidity, how much more do you take before starting to shift the narrative? Now this happened before Here where we came into the liquidity, grabbed that 100 billion, it started to taper by half beneath that point, so they shifted out at that region and came back into the 178 billion that was waiting at 25.6. So they leave stuff on the table to come back to later. It doesn't always clear it completely. Always something to note, particularly here too. They came down to 15.6 and they didn't come get this 100 billion at 15.2 and they just left it there. So there will be a point where they decide to reverse it at. Where will that be? Okay, so let's go back to that 3-month chart where I see that hot $150 billion waiting for us, and then we can go into the charts. That coincides quite nicely with the 1382. Do we come down to that and take out this wick before considering going to the upside? Let's go into the projection we had for you yesterday. So we were talking about before we come up to these regions, we would come down and take out this liquidity. It has not happened yet, but we have seen those two 12-hour candles to the downside from there. Let's start to throw on our indicators. Heads up display. This is Momentum Master. Link is in the description for more. MomentumMaster.info. You can toggle all of the components using the features tab, and then you can use this interactive heads-up display to see everything in its glory, or the individual components that we go over. If you do not use Momentum Master, you'll be able to see how it works. So we're currently seeing the crossover event maintain this fat boy baseline. We have not yet closed beneath it, although we're reaching the last resort option of this baseline on the 12-hour, but we are talking about a double bottom idea anyway. So you have this W formation. You always want to think about entering on that second leg of the W, wherever that may be. So let's go into the daily time frame and see. We were getting a possible cross up event, and we said we wait for this to confirm before we consider it valid. It got negated as we closed below, but we're on the cusp of that scooping of price if it maintains this baseline level and doesn't close below down here. So always you're at the precipice of these time frames coalescing, and the daily time frame is getting oversold here. The Williams is low. MACD is considering to potentially cross up, but you still have some room for that to occur as a leading idea. And if we go to the 22-hour, did get not quite overbought, but it did hesitate here. Is this going ABC to the upside here while we recharge a little bit before going higher? The Williams does suggest you still have more potential, and you have the cross up event and the baseline maintaining this idea. The previous time we had a cross down event, we did see a fake out before we dumped. So are we seeing a fake out before we pump? If this baseline maintains, that is something you need to consider before thinking about that. So the 12 and the 22 cross up event still is maintained. And if we go to the 6-hour, we have a cross down event which could be closing in this fashion. Now if this candle somehow negates this entire, it becomes like a bullish engulfing, then this thin boy will negate this, but you're currently seeing the precursor to a potential cross down event, but it needs to close in that state. We talked about that yesterday with the 4-hour, if you recall. This is why we put that extended W idea out there. We had this confirmed, so we were saying this is a leading average, because when you get those confirmations, when you get those confirmations, you start to see more impending downside. And sure enough, after this confirmation here, you did see more downside ensue. So the 4-hour is not in your favor for those 12 and 22 cross-up events. That has changed. And the 6-hour is starting to see if that cascade from the 4-hour will occur. You have about 5 hours. This candle just closed recently. So it's based on how this candle closes, whether that 6 hour will cascade you down lower. Currently you're seeing the cloud get slightly thinner and maintaining this curved nature. So at some point, do you stab up above this cloud, reclaim it and go, is the question on everyone's mind. So you did see the 4 hour time frame reset itself. What does that mean? Well, if you look at this stochastic RSI and the Williams, it has come down in such a manner. By how much did it come down to reset the price? Well, if we go from wick to wick, that was a 4% drop. We've seen worse in so many resets in the past, but you could come down to just consolidate to further dump on that last leg. The last leg can be a doozy on that reset here from 9 to 0. Like here was a 5% drop off of 28 to 0. So that last leg of the reset can be a doozy if we do see lower prices. Alright, so at this point you did have the Williams in a higher spot, although you're not in the sweet spot for the Williams just yet, and the MACD could come down some more on this 4 hour time frame. The one thing that does favor this idea of what I just put out here with this burst through the cloud is the thinning of the cloud on the 4 hour as well. You're getting kind of a thinning nature here, suggesting you pierce up to it, and we've seen nothing but a bleed out from Asian session. Asia pumps it to dump it to pass it off to New York, which has considered to dump it as well. So you have this dump idea. Was this a stop loss hunt to go higher? The 4 hour time frame is getting oversold, and yeah, this could be interesting to note. If we go to the hourly time frame, hourly time frame cloud is still thin in purple, but still this angle is to the downside. You would need to fight the resistance to go above it. The Williams and the stochastic RSI and the money flow and the RSI are in a good place for that idea of the hourly time frame scalp. You are at 4 time frames oversold. Are you going to see a bearish retest idea to break down at the cloud of some 6 hour or 4 hour cloud idea? New York opens in about an hour, so you can see that handoff in hours time. Do we come up to this region, get rejected off this thick cloud here, or do we muster the strength to come back above it and claim? Everything is fractal in nature, so just as you saw us come here and test it and then eventually fade down beneath the cloud here, this gives you the idea of the long not being valid in that particular case. But if you look at here, you came up above the cloud and you held it as it was thinning and you surged up, but you came back to reclaim the cloud and there was no strength there. So this is a place where you could look to put your stop losses into profit. And if similar style, if you're looking for entry, you have like a shoulder head and a possible shoulder rejection. If you get to this cloud at some stage and get rejected off of this super trend or the cloud itself being thick, then you could see this come down further. Okay. You are seeing the baseline come beneath the price here, but this is a lower time frame and you're seeing the ambiguity of the 15 not play out here. But the Williams is in a good spot for a long idea if you're looking for that 1-4-15 projection. So if we look at the 5 minute, we have to see the 5 minute come back down to reset itself. On the cloud here, it was getting rejected, so we're getting rejected off the 5 minute cloud, so you'd be looking for another double bottom of sorts off of here on the rejection if you were going to find this come down in such a manner. So the 5 minute needs to reset, and then you can reassess that at that time. So that is the story, and I'm sticking to it. We are on Tuesday, a continuation of Tuesday. Tuesday was basically all consolidation. Wednesday we've consolidated and made an express intent to go to this sell side liquidity on the longs here. So we have made an intent to go lower on the Wednesday start of London. So are we going to see this continue even further to the downside to this region? It could be the case as we enter Wednesday's intent move. So Tuesday didn't really do anything and set up for a Wednesday play perhaps, and then we are going to see midweek reversal tomorrow. So we'll see whether that spawns some possible divergence. So the juicier, this is a bit larger consolidation range that we are in, so I'm looking for a displacement of the liquidity of the higher time frame somewhere down in this region for a long setup. We could just send it from here. I have missed entries before, so there is always that possibility, but I think the likelihood of coming to that liquidity down here is a higher possibility still, despite being the reset on the 4-hour time frame. You are having this cross down event on the 1 and the 4 hour that needs to get into a position similar to here before we start to see this upside ensue. So I'd like to see this baseline come beneath the price in a similar fashion here, where it comes beneath the price and you start to double bottom out at the bottom of the Keltner channel. You are at the bottom of the Keltner channel, but you should see some more meandering and try to get this baseline to come beneath the price a little bit further. Somebody asked if they wanted to see Pepe, so we're going to take a look at Pepe and then call it a day. Pepe. Not really into it personally. Oh, we're looking at futures. Sorry about that. Pepe USDT. I don't know which one to look at, but I will look at the Binance chart. They wanted to see it with Momentum Master, so we'll do Pepe on Momentum Master. So the 6 hour of Pepe is relatively new because this is a newer chart. Let's go to the older chart just so we have more data to work with here. Let's go to the BitGet chart or whatever. There we go. Okay, so you're seeing this constant rejection of the cloud here on the 6 hour. You had a hard rejection off of the cloud about 12 hours ago. You are seeing this curved out thinning nature to the cloud, so eventually you could see a stab up to this ATR region of a 23% increase idea, but you need to reclaim this adaptive moving average, which you have fallen beneath in this last 6 hour liquidity grab to the downside. So the fact that you came and got these consolidated longs down here, you came down to their sell side liquidity down here, is a promising note for a little mini bounce anyway. You would have received a dynamic alert through Momentum Master using the dynamic alert system that would have let you know that you were oversold on 4 time frames. It doesn't matter what, you will receive that message on whatever time frame you set it on, but it's a one-time alert thing. So as we look at the 4 hour, we're still beneath the cloud here on Pepe, but it is starting to see more volume increasing as we sell off here, so this could imply some sort of bounce up here. You are seeing the baselines cross down on you similar to Bitcoin here, so this could come down into these clouds and come down into this testing this super trend / bottom of the Keltner channel idea. We did that here previously and broke down at it, so are we going to break down and double bottom down here at this region at the wick down below? All right. If we look at the hourly time frame, is also seeing that cloud continue to the downside in terms of volume. The last 5 hours or so have been a massive liquidity grab, but liquidity grabs are what you like to see in terms of a long bounce idea. So first you have to put some fibs up here and try to see where this type of bounce might occur at, and it looks like it'd be at this level. I can't count the number of zeros, but 144429 for a potential bounce region off this golden pocket of this impulse on the hourly time frame. If you were going to look for a long, you would be looking for these in the golden pocket region. The 15-minute is currently overbought as per our stochastic health monitor that shows us that time frame despite which time frame we are in. So getting overbought on the 15-minute without really going anywhere. Could see the 15-minute reset down into these regions. It looks like you're creating a descending channel to do that. So yeah, I would be looking for the baselines to hold in a similar fashion beneath the price after coming for more liquidity down to the downside. So it looks like it's following suit with Bitcoin at this time, and probably the Bitcoin, so the USDT dominance is going up. Now let's look at that and then we will bid you adieu. So we did come down to this region and bounce out of it. I don't know if that was when we put that out there. So we're seeing this bounce and people getting kicked into USDT as they get kicked out of their trades since Monday. So the Monday bounce and the preceding dump has been knocking people into their USDT. This is the one level of the bullish trend-based fib extension that we are seeing this occur. Are you creating an M for people to jump out of the USDT back into trades? That would coincide with the liquidity grab. The extended M, the extended M here could be the extended W for BTC as it kicks people into the 1382 and into the USDT. On the hourly and the 4 hour, does look like you're getting exhausted here, but you're getting a cross up potential on this 6 hour time frame that could propel you above this buy side liquidity here. All right, well guys, I have to get ready for the NASDAQ futures and say what's up to the people in the Momentum Master Discord and hopefully knock out one account today. So we're getting in that mood for that. So what would you see as a curveball here for the New York session? Is this enough liquidity for them to jump to the upside? Let's recap the liquidity once again, and then we'll bid you adieu. Let's take a look at the 1 minute time frame. A lot of it was lost to Father Time, so we don't have much to work with here on the 6 days of data that it provides. But we did outline that on the 3 month time frame you do have that $150 billion down at 25.2, which we would expect them to come back if there's going to be a true long idea. It would also coincide with the wick recovery of that previous drop to that downside area. You are seeing some shorts open, more shorts open to longs here on this 1 minute time frame, but those little pools could be pittance to what they're intending to grab on the external time frame. So if we fail, once again, if we fail this one level at 26,652, then another attempt to come down to 25,359 could be in order in similar fashion. We did make our way down to that region before, so if we break that one level, the next stop is down to that zone with the $150 billion. So the only thing that could occur to countermine that would be a surge up and break of that 6 hour cloud and maintaining of that 6 hour cloud. So I would look for some move to occur in either direction in the next 2 hours as London hands the baton off to New York and London closes. So are we going to see a stab up to here? The liquidity does not have anything super enticing in the same fashion as this, but they did open more shorts to longs in the recent hours. So that could be the stab you need up to 27.85 or not. We did lose a lot to Father Time here, so it's hard to say where those bubbles lie anymore. All right. Well, the curvature of the cloud is quite nice, but that could change at any moment, and you could get another surge down here if we do dump out of this one level. We'll be keeping you posted. We got Rainier in the group as well, posting some nice updates, and I will thank you once again for coming on in. So thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we will catch you on the flip side. Thank you for coming on in, and peace.